Hi, this is Janet with Try It Like It Create It, and today I am here working with Fairy Stampers video design team, and we are going to be using the Alexa stamp, and this is FHS 245, and I am just using my black ink, and we're going to stamp her a couple of times even though we're just going to use her once, and then I am going to send her through my scan and cut to cut her out. So let's see how we do here with inking her up first, getting her covered. And giving it a stamp here. And I may end up changing my ink pad just because it looks a little dry at the moment. Ooh. So yeah, that's a little bit light for what I want to be doing, so let me just grab another stamp pad here and see if we can get anything a little bit darker. Yeah, there we go. Much juicier. Okay. And like I said, we're going to stamp her up a few times. And that way we have the best one to work with. It's looking a little bit better. So now I have it attached to my scan and cut mat, and I'm going to send it through the machine and I'll be right back. So I'm going to emboss the front side of my card. I have it set up in my embossing folder on the sandwich. This is going through the crossover too. So I'm just going to send that through and back again. And so we can see that the front side is embossed. So next I'm die cutting some pieces I'm going to add to the front of the card, and this is a stem with a heart on it, and I've cut a couple other colors off camera, and so I'm just going to send this one through my crossover too, just to show you just one of them how it works, so you don't have to sit through all three. And then as I remove it here, you can see that the pieces pop out real nice. And that's the thing I like about the crossover too, is that I can adjust, let's see, is it in camera here? I can adjust the thickness, and that allows me to add a little bit more to it if I need, you know, if I have a stubborn die, which in this case I did. The first go through, you can see here, I didn't cut as well, and I mean I could maneuver these and, you know, work on getting them out of here, but it's going to tear some, so I just set it a little bit thicker or a little bit more firm on the press and set the die through again. For the next step, I'm taking the card that we embossed, and I'm just taking an ink pad, and I'm going to run this over the front of it, and you can see I've tested it out here, but we're just going to gently wipe it across the front so that we can see where the die cutting, or excuse me, the embossing happens. Alright, and then as soon as this dries a little bit, I am going to cut a piece of it out. So I just want a section of this that I'm going to attach to the front of my card. So let me dry this off a little bit, bring in my paper trimmer, and then decide just how much of this card front do I want. I only want a small amount, or a stripe, so I'm going to cut there. And so this is the piece I'm going to be using here. And then that is going to get attached to the front of our card, like so. All right. So to coordinate with the papers that I've cut with the little heart stems, I'm going to take her and color her with some colored pencils, and these are the 3 that I have chosen here. And so we're just going to start in the center of her wings and kind of give her some yellow to lighten things up a bit. And then we'll move out with the other 2 colors. Alright, for the next step, what I want to do is I want to emboss her in clear so that she stands out a little bit. So I'm going to take my Versamark and just cover the entire stamp. And you can see I have some glitter on my stamp pad, and I'm okay with that. Alright, so I'm just going to make sure that she's covered well before we move on. Alright, and then I'm going to put her into the clear powder. Alright, and that looks like we've got a good coverage there. Just tap it off, and I grab a hold of her with my tweezers. Let's move this out of the way. And then I'm going to use a heat gun to get that embossing to work. So here we go. Alright, so there she is, and you can see that the colors show up a little bit better, and it also a little bit of glitter got transferred, and I'm great with that. So I really like the look. Alright, so now it is time to start putting the card together, and I made a decision off screen just to show you. I already walked you through the technique I used, to cover. This was black, and when I put her on there, she just got lost. And so I picked up on the purple color that we used, and I just did it on the reverse side. And so now she stands out a whole lot better. And to coordinate with that, I've taken a piece of purple cardstock and the front of our card. So now I'm just going to do tape runner. And we're going to start putting this together. So on the card front here, I am just going to kind of eyeball it and figure out where this piece of paper lies. Alright, so there we have it on the card, and then I'm going to do the same thing with our embossing piece. I'm just going to put tape runner on it. Now for this one I went over the top edges because it's going to go across this little lip right here. So I'm just going to line that up because it's the complete length of the card. And so I want to make sure that that sits on there well. Alright, so there we are, starting to build things up. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to attach the heart stems, and for that I'm going to use some foam tape here. I have some little foam adhesive squares. And so I'm just going to take two and put them right here. And peel off the tops. Alright, now I'm going to use that to hold my stems in place. So I can put them however I want, and that will kind of hold them down for me. Alright, so I like that. And now I'm just going to put a little bit of tape runner on top of that. There, just to kind of hold those in place. Alright, you see how she sets on there. And we may have to angle her a bit to get all the hearts to show. I'm okay with that. Let's see how we want to do it. Or we may want to drop her down a little bit. I don't know. Kind of liking it like that, which means these guys have to come up a little bit. So I'm just going to pull on it, see if I can get it to come up a little taller. Same with this one. Okay. And we're going to place her there. Alright, so I'm going to need some foam pieces on her wings, I think, to hold her in place. So I'll grab a couple more here. Put those on her. And just a few more last steps here to really finish this up. Alright, so I'm going to put her right there. We want her to cover up everything we've got going on behind the scenes there. So I think that's good. Use those foam pieces to get her there. Now we have a little bit hanging off here, so we're going to snip on that stem like so. Nobody will know the difference. Alright, and then for just a little bit of last looks, I think I'm going to add some ink of Stella. See if I can find my pen. And it's called Wink of Stella, not ink. Let's see, I'm not finding it. Darn it. Alright, let me find it and I'll be right back. Okay, it was hiding. So what I want to do now is just add a little bit to these hearts. So I'm going to put a scrap piece behind it. There. And as I go over the hearts, I'm just adding a little bit of that glitter to those hearts. And now you could be more intentional with this. You could, you know, definitely glue and glitter or whatever you think you might like. Ooh, that one got a lot. All right, and we can also take those and kind of, if we want to give them a little action, you can kind of curl up on those. All right, to add a little bit of depth to it. It's kind of fun. And this one you can curl it back again if you want. Lift up and back. And then just as a final touch, I am going to take my black metallic marker here and just dot the center of these little flowers in the background to finish off the card. Just the ones that are showing. I have to lift these guys up to get to them. That's okay. And just sneak under there. Alright, there's one right there that I think might show. So yeah, that just adds a little bit more to the card. Don't know if you even notice it or not, but I do, and I like it. So there we go.